All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Uh, welcome. Let me see here. All right. Just let me know if you can hear me. I just went around disconnecting my headphones from everything, from the TV, I'm hearing audio. Good. So I was just like, come on. I need these to sync up. All right, perfect. Wonderful. So let me share my screen. Oh, thank you, Terry. Thank you. Hello, Orlando. Welcome.
Yes, hi, Jocelyn. Hi.
Let me see here. Okay. All right. Let me put everybody up there. And awesomeness. Okay. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you're tuning in from. Welcome to another houseplant class. Here we are. This is part of the Urban Garden Learning Series, and we like to switch it up. So we'll have some days that are classes, Q&As, plant clinics, and like today, it's an open forum. So anything plant related. I do want to show you a few plants that I picked up over the weekend, as well as someone had sent me a question about Rhaphidophores. So I'll quickly answer that. But if anyone wants to share anything, I mean, please let me know. You can put it in the chat. We can spotlight you if you want to share maybe your collection or something cool you learned, something you'd really like to share, a really awesome pot that you found, and anything you'd like to talk about that's plant related. Feel free, just let me know. I can spotlight you for everyone, no problem. So again, today is the open forum. Next week, so a few of you had wanted me to go more in depth into my process of transitioning my propagations. So about how I was going to write up a whole blog post, and I'm still going to do that, but I think it would be nice if I have the lesson accompanying it. So I'll just do a whole lesson on that. And we'll talk about how I go from, let's say, having water propagations to what's the next step. What do I personally do, and which involves a couple layering of different types of substrates and things like that. It's an incremental type of transition, and so I'll show you, because I actually have a few plants that are ready to be transitioned. So this would actually be a perfect time to show everyone. So I'll be doing that. And again, this is a free class. It's going to stay free. If you ever would like to share a tip, of course, that is much appreciated, but it's not necessary. I'm happy to have you here. So putting that on there, and I hope to have the Patreon up and running by next week. So I know folks were asking, well, just set up the Patreon. So I'll have it ready. And if you do want to reach out, info@urbangarden.eco. If you'd prefer to reach out via Instagram, it's also urbangarden.eco, as is the website. Let me see here. Okay. I'm going to quickly stop the share and just show you what I found this weekend. So I found two of these at Nellie's flower shop in Brooklyn. I've been going to their sister shop, planted by Christy, for, gosh, since the opening. I think now it's like over a year now. It's grown to be one of my favorite plant shops. And they have a sister shop in Brooklyn. And I only went for the second time yesterday. And they always have some really cool plants. At Nellie's, there just seems to be more of a selection. If you're here in New York City, there's a broader range of species, and you get a lot of these unicorn plants, which are plants that you usually do not see at shops. Usually they're only available through private sellers. And you'll just see this like one really cool plant that maybe you've been looking for sitting on the shelf. And sometimes they only have one or two. So it's kind of like they're testing to see if anybody's interested. So you find some really, really cool plants. So I had to look. So again, so I went, and I actually got one of my wish list plants, and I was freaking out. Well, I got two of my wish list plants. This one I had known about longer, and it's actually been on my wish list for about 6 years now. So when I saw it, I totally fangirled. I was like freaking out. So they only had three, so I was able to get one. But this one, if anyone is not familiar with it, it's the Peperomia elongata. Hold on. Go. It's it's still a slightly succulent, but it's a much thinner leaf for a peperomia. And as you can see, it's a very long leaf. It doesn't look like a typical peperomia. And there's actually multiple plants in here. There's a baby in there. There are like three separate plants in here. So I'm gonna let them acclimate, get nice and comfortable, and I'll see maybe, within another about 2 months or so, once I see that it's nice and acclimated, I'm actually gonna be putting it into my cabinet. Then I'm gonna consider actually separating them out. But these get huge. These leaves are absolutely beautiful. From the moment I saw this plant, I wanted it. And so I was just really, really excited that I was finally able to see it in person. That's number one. I'd never seen it in person. And then two, be able to get it. So I was super, super excited. And it's a beautiful specimen. So super, super happy with that. And then this other one was on my wish list, but it was one of those plants where you see it and then you're like, I would like that plant, but you never think you're ever going to find it. It's like with the peperomia, I expected one day I'll see a private seller, they'll be selling it. You really have an expectation, like it's more attainable, that peperomia. But this, I had never seen anyone offering it, let alone inside of a store. And I actually didn't know about it until I had done a class on pothos, on epiprenums, and I didn't even know it existed until I did that class, because I was trying to find a wide range of species examples. And so lo and behold, this one plant was just sitting on the shelf. And I was like, what is this beautiful thing? And it turned out that this is a type of pothos. So this is the Epiprenum amplissum. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? It kind of looks like a mix between like a peace lily, has like a peace lily look, kind of like an aglaonema. It's very interesting. Has these beautiful aerial roots, and it's the Epiprenum amplissum. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. It's hard to see. It has like these silver details. It's beautiful. Very excited that I found this. And I had only seen it in a few photos when I was doing that class, and one of which was somebody had planted it at the base of their tree, and so it was growing and it looked beautiful. And seeing these like leaves like this, these long thin leaves, I thought, wow, I had never seen a pothos with leaves like this. And lo and behold, I was able to find it. So I'm gonna actually be putting this guy in the cabinet too. But I left it out so that I could show everyone. But I just got this guy and the peperomia yesterday. And then it's so bad, but on the corner they have a little plant, like a plant stand. And she always has the coolest plants, and so I grabbed that. Oh yes, the cost. So this guy was $40.
Oh,
Yeah, and actually it's not bad. So I looked at it, I looked it up, and I found that some plants that were only with 2 leaves were $35. Plants that were, let's say, like this section that had like 5 or 6 leaves were about an average of 60. So when I saw this plant, and there's 3 plants in here, for 40, I was like, okay, that's not bad. So yeah, here you go. So 40. So always do that. So even when you get super, super excited about a plant and it's like over $20, just quickly look and see the competitive pricing, right? And see if if it's worth it, right? Because I even found that there was one that had a couple leaves that was available, I think, for $16.99 online, but then the shipping was $24.95.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, I might as well. I might as well just pay the 40 and have it here. In terms of this guy was only 25. This one was 25. Absolutely beautiful. And they use integrative pest management there. So they have like ladybugs and things. They're great. So I Nellie's plant shop here in Brooklyn. And then at the corner, she always has some really cool plants, and she finally got one of these, and I said, oh my God, I need it.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that, guys. So super excited. There are so many pictures on this thing. There's some that are slightly damaged, but that's okay. So you see like this one. So yeah, there's some beautiful ones. Really, really gorgeous plant. A nice full plant. So yeah, I have it right now in my bathroom. But I think I'm actually going to set it up in my kitchen, because that we have a lot of our cuttings in our kitchen, and that tends to be the warmest and most humid place in the whole house. So Koshi, this is a pitcher plant. So what happens, so this is an example of a carnivorous plant. And so what these guys do, so I just picked this up yesterday. I need to get a new thing of spring water, because I didn't know this. I know that they really need a lot of humidity. I knew that. So this is a new experience for me. However, I did not realize that it's recommended you actually fill these up about halfway with water. And I didn't know that. So I need to go pick up some spring water today, because I'm out. So I'm gonna try and see. But what these guys do is that they have these digestive enzymes, like these digestive juices, and in the wild, they get water caught inside of them. And so this mixes with those digestive juices, and basically on the side here, on this little rim, it's very slippery. And so what happens is, if a fly, a mosquito, some type of critter comes, and usually sometimes they have like sugar crystals or something that's it smells very interesting to an insect. So then it'll come, it'll kind of investigate, see if there's anything to eat, and then it will slip and fall inside, and then it can't actually get out. So what ends up happening is that the whole thing basically is like a external stomach. And so the plant digests whatever fell in there, because they can't get out, and it absorbs it. And so carnivorous plants are just really, really interesting. And most of them actually evolved out of the necessity for nutrition. So a lot of them exist in areas that lack a lot of nutrition, and also a lot of sunlight. So if a plant can access a lot of sunlight, it needs food, right? It needs to survive. And so it actually developed. So while it can still photosynthesize, and it still does flower, it had to, where it evolved, it had to supplement that nutrition somehow. And that was by actually consuming insects. So super cool. It is crazy. I love it.
Um,
I'm so excited. I will let you know how this goes. So from again, a few of them are damaged. So I might cut a few of these off so you could see here. There we go. That one's damaged. And from what I've done research online, from what I'm hearing is if you are seeing them turning black like that, it means the humidity is just not enough. So that's a good indicator. Unfortunately, if you're losing pictures, that's not good. Um, yeah, and oh, and Jamie's asking if I will need to feed it bugs. I could. I already feed crickets we have geckos and frogs, and we have our bearded dragon, and so we already use some insects for feeding our animals. So it's I could just throw a cup, I could order a couple more and just kind of offer it up. That's not a problem. We even have this really huge house spider called Air God. And he's about this big. And he lives in the corner of our living room. We actually saved him from Planted by Christie. He was on a shelf and he had a big web and they were going to squish him. We got there as they were cleaning the shelf out and they're like, oh, this huge spider, and they were going to kill it. And I was like, just give me a cup, give me a cup. So they put it in a plastic cup and I brought it home because I love spiders. I absolutely love spiders. And so I said, no. So I let it go in my, I have Hogwarts Castle, a Lego Hogwarts Castle, and it climbed right above the castle and made this huge web. And now it's there. It's great. Yeah. So whenever I have crickets that I feed my geckos, I'll save one and I'll throw it up and it gets caught in the web, and then the spider enjoys it. We have yeah. So I love that. I love that spider. I hope it'll be with us for for a while. But yeah, so I don't think that's a problem at all in terms of supplementing feeding. Not in the slightest. Oh, and no, so they're not the seed pods. So the flowers of pitcher plants look really interesting. But yeah, they produce like a whole different type of seed pod. So these guys are just solely for eating, for the purposes of breaking down the insects. It's super neat. So, and you can also clean them out. So even if they ate and sometimes there's just a little bit of remnants left, you can actually rinse the little pitchers out and put fresh water. So we'll see. In terms of that question I got about the Rhapidophoras, I thought it was a good opportunity to show you a couple of mine. Because I was like, oh yeah, they'll probably get a kick out of this. So this is my Rhaphidophora decursiva. This is my third one. I have a tiny one in my kitchen. I have another kind of medium-sized one in my bathroom. This is the one in my bedroom, and it's about to give me a new leaf. So, but I'm gonna have to repot this soon. So dun dun dun.
Oh,
So this leaf is oh sorry, this one here. I'm just gonna chop it. I think it's just because this is the one when it's hanging, it's like right against the wall. So I'm just gonna snip it because it's kind of in the way there. But this thing has just grown over the edge. You can see the aerial root stuck itself right there. And yeah, now this new leaf is coming in. And these guys, they're great if you're interested in having an aroid that is really cool shaped. You like those fenestrations, you like these kind of split leaves. I really do recommend Rhapidophoras. They're really cool plant to have, a really nice aroid. Often they were called like this one specifically. The common name is dragon tail, Rhaphidophora dragon tail. So it has these really interesting split leaves. So if you kind of like that Monstera look, these are definitely awesome, but then they will consistently give you fenestrated leaves. So sometimes when folks get small Monstera deliciosa and they're like, oh, the leaves are still coming out heart-shaped, and you're wanting ones that actually are split. If you want some interesting leaves, these guys do put out growth very, very rapidly. They can get very, very large. And you'll have consistent fenestration, so you don't really have to wait for it to once you start getting these like fenestrated leaves, then it's set. They mature much faster. Now, in terms of the tetrasperma, so the tetrasperma, I have like 5, but this is my biggest one, so you might get a kick out of this one. I actually have to I have to figure out what we're gonna do, if I'm gonna cut it back or if I'm gonna pole it, or what am I gonna do. But this is currently my widest plant. So and it keeps putting out leaves. I don't even think I can. Here we go. I'm like
That's great.
so this guy, it's absolutely ginormous. So this one used to be called the Monstera Ginny, but it's not a Monstera, it's a Rhaphidophora. This is the new leaf, so it comes in with this really gorgeous neon green. And then they harden off into this really nice deep green color. Again, if you are looking for some plant that has these really cool fenestrations that grows really fast, and the leaves aren't as big as the Monstera, then Rhaphidophora tetrasperma is a really cool plant. They grow super fast. You can have these climb up your wall, they'll climb up a pole. They grow really fast in comparison to the Monstera deliciosa, but they have this kind of similar leaf shape. So if you're looking for something that has like that's a little smaller, maybe you're like, okay, yeah, Monstera deliciosa is a little bit too big for my location. This was just it was left to kind of grow wild, but you can definitely start them off small and train them to grow in a certain way. So I have to figure out. We were actually considering just setting this up in our bathroom and installing an overhead hook, and basically it's like a plant chandelier in the bathroom. So that's currently one idea we have for it, that would not require us cutting it back. So there's just so many vines here. But yes, someone's asking about the care. So these guys, yeah, it's very similar care to Monstera deliciosas, to Pothos, to Scindapsus. They like to dry out between waterings. So these larger plants, it's a watering like every 10 to 14 days. The smaller ones will get thirstier faster. So if you do have like a 3 or 4 inch pot, you might find yourself watering maybe every 7 days, maybe even up to 10 days. And they need a very nice airy mix, very chunky aeroid mix with like I have succulent soil with orchid bark, perlite. So there's a lot of air. So these are epiphytic. Yeah, and in terms of lighting, so they do like a bright indirect light. They don't want too intense. Southern light is really strong, it will burn them. Western light, they can handle if they're pulled away. You can totally do that. Hold on one second. There we go. I was getting a lot of background. But yeah, so you can keep them if you pull them back. They're fine. It's just in the evening light, it can be a little bit too strong. Yeah, but having in our bathroom, it's like a northwestern kind of exposure, and it would love that. So that's why we're considering moving it there, instead of having it in our bedroom, which is southeastern. Though the dragon tail is going to stay in there, and so they're not right in front of the windows. There's two windows in our room, and then there's this middle space, and that's where we have our monsteras. And so we installed two hooks, so then that's where they hang. So they're just off the windows, so they get this indirect light, and that's like the best lighting situation. So it's bright, but it's not right in the pathway of the sunlight, so they don't get burned. But yeah, they're great. And in terms of humidity, they can actually deal with it dropping like into the 40%. They're not necessarily, they don't like that. You might get some crisping, but 50% and up if you want to keep it happy. But they grow so fast. So in comparison, I have Monstera deliciosa. I have them in these big mason jars. So they're fully in water, huge leaves like this. They grow at such a slow rate in comparison to the Rhaphidophores. These guys just grow, it's just putting out growth. So yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. Oh, Tanya is asking, can I show the Hogwarts Lego castle and the spider web? I mean, I can show the castle, but you can't see the spider web because our walls are white. So all you see is like a floating spider. And so you can't see the actual web. It was actually yesterday I was FaceTiming my best friend when I threw a cricket up there for it. And I threw it, but my angle was off. And so I threw it off to the side, and I was like, oh, damn. But then it got stuck. And I said, oh my God, the web is like a lot wider than I thought it was. So I thought I missed. And I did not. So it really, but you can't, I don't even know if the camera will pick it up, but I'll try. Hold on one second. Okay. So that's Hogwarts up there, my husband's pull-up bar. I don't even think you can see it. So it's like this spot. Hold on. There. That's the spider. And it's about this big with its legs and all. And so it's this little dot that's right here, this little black dot that you can see. And I thought the web was just this little corner right here, but I accidentally threw the cricket over here, and it just landed in midair and got stuck on a web. So I think the web is like here. And I thought it was just this little corner above Hogwarts. But I think it's actually spread over here, but you can't see anything because it's translucent. Yeah, so but it's right above because we let it go right here. Yeah, and then that's what we ended up. So yeah, we now have this whoops, I got this new chair. I'm like figuring it out. It's this ergonomic kneeling chair. Here we go. So I'm like figuring it out. But yeah, so this it's lovely. I love it. I'm not scared of spiders at all. We have oh, thank you. It's not even the full thing. The Hogwarts castle. That's just like what I could fit. And I still have actually in boxes a bunch in progress. I have Hogsmeade in progress. I have Hagrid's hut. I had finished it, and then my cat Maple destroyed it. I had it sitting on the heater, and I was like, oh, I finally finished it. And he wanted to go by the window, and he went and jumped on it, and the whole thing collapsed, and I have to do it again. So yeah. What's the purpose of maintaining the spider? Yes. I love spiders. I have pet jumping spiders. I have pet tarantulas. I just love spiders in general, so I don't kill them. But the purpose is also they catch everything. So in our bedroom, on my shelves, for instance, there's like 3 or 4 small house spiders, very tiny orb weavers, and I love them because they catch everything. Fungus gnats, they catch fungus gnats, fruit flies, if a fly happens to get into the house. And they just help keep things in check. And I appreciate them. I mean, here in our household, we like let go of ladybugs. So we're very big on integrative pest management. And it's not only one because, well, my environmental science background, but also since we do have pet insects, we have pet arachnids, other types of invertebrates here. I can't spray poison, or I can't, like if I wanted to spray something to kill like thrips or to kill aphids or something like that. Thankfully, we don't have any like pests, general pests. In terms of plant pests, we get thrips now and again, which we're currently battling. Sometimes you might see a mealybug here and there. But we really like the approach of just letting go of a couple dozen ladybugs or green lacewings, and having them just take care of the plants. And so it's, we don't have to like spray anything. We wouldn't want to spray something and then let's say our cats decided I want to lick that plant, or if we somehow got it on our hands and then accidentally handled a tank where I have my isopods or something like that, and have any, I just wouldn't want to harm any of the animals that we're keeping. So yeah, just kind of bringing the nature in, enjoying it, and they don't bother us. I mean, he's been up there since we put him up in the castle. Gosh, I think that was 2 or 3 months ago. We put him up in that castle and it made its way to that corner, and that's it. It has not come down. It's just been hanging out. And so we have nothing to worry about with the spiders, and they're harmless. These guys are harmless, and little orb weavers and jumpers and stuff. So yeah, they're our friends. So we don't we don't have a problem with them. They're wonderful. And Cheryl is asking, can you speak to setting up a humidity tray or dish, and how do you maintain it? That's a great question. So yes, with the humidity tray and dish, just know it's a form of what is called like passive humidity, like passive humidity retention, where one, you will have to stay on top of it, and it only really works if your home is warm enough, for one. Because if your warm is you're warm, if your home is not relatively warm, it's very cool and dark. The humidity trays, the rate of evaporation will be so negligible that it really won't make too much of a difference. But if your home is warm, and you have a nice amount of sunlight, and you're seeing that your rate of evaporation is pretty good, then you might find yourself filling up your tray like every other day, if not every day on a really hot summer day. But what I like to do, and what's usually recommended, is you're gonna put your pebbles. I like to use leca, but you can put your pebbles and you put the pot right on top, and you kind of create a moat, so like a little dip, and that's where the water goes. It's below the pebbles or rocks, whatever it is that you're using. You want it to go below that. So you just don't want the water to come in contact with the bottom of your pot. So it's more like you're sitting your plant up on a hill, and then there's water surrounding that. And that's just to allow for that humidity to evaporate. You can do that for certain species, specifically like begonias, really like that, peace lilies, calatheas as well. And so just know too, if you are grouping certain plants together, especially a lot of plants that like high humidity, when you group them, they actually create their own little microclimate, because they are actively releasing moisture. So it actually increases the humidity around the plants if you have them actually grouped together. So definitely, consider that. Maybe you have a couple really high humidity plants and you want to keep those together. for that reason. And so that will help as well. Some folks actually have really long trays for humidity as well. In our kitchen, we have a huge tray that was actually the bottom of an old cage. And it's just this big black kind of tub. And so what I did is I bought these plastic, it's like a mesh bottom that's usually used like for folks if you have a washroom or something like that, where you kind of want like a rug with perforation so that the moisture can go through. So I actually got that. I cut it to size, and then what I do is I put my plants on top and I fill the bottom. But again, the water is not above that mat. So that just also allows for some passive humidity. And so those are for some of the aeroids in our kitchen. So there's different ways to set it up, but that's the overall idea. And it doesn't have to be crazy expensive. I mean, you can use rocks, like regular rocks. You don't have to go and buy, oh, I have to buy leca, or I have to use perlite or anything like that. You can definitely just use regular rocks if you'd like, if it's easier. Leftover marbles, anything like that. You can totally use it. So don't worry about that. And then Irene asked, I tried to soak my air plant. I'm not sure. It says 11 to 2 weeks. Is it once or twice a week? What are the signs that it's dehydrated? Oh, so what are the signs that an air plant is dehydrated? Okay, a couple. So it depends on the species. There are some air plants that, again, they fall into those different categories. Some are more furry, and so they usually can stand being without water for longer periods of time. But the more common ones that you can get, like the ionanthas, the rubras, I think, here we go. Yeah, something like this. Like these are the most common ones that you can find. These are actually due for a watering. So this is a great example. And so you can really see that silver. The silver is really pronounced. And that means that the trichomes are out. They're basically like a little door. So they're up, they're reflecting light. So that's why it's looking like it has glitter all over it. And like it has like this furry kind of glitter. And so that tells you that it's ready to get water, for one. Now, if the air plant is severely dehydrated, and so these, they're nice and flat, but if it was severely dehydrated, it kind of looks like a taco. So they kind of bend inwards. And it looks like really thin, and especially if the tips are getting crispy, and it's just like a really deep bend that wasn't there before, that is a really good indicator that it's very dehydrated. But yeah, so this one is just, you can see it's a lot of silver, so that's another good indicator that this guy actually, I watered these guys about 2 weeks ago, so I need to water them again. And it's been pretty warm. Today it's pretty hot. What's the humidity? I'm trying to see right now. It's a 59% humidity, and it says it's 81 in here. So it's a little warm. It's a little warm in here. Hence, and this is one of the dresses I actually bought in El Salvador. And I was so happy over there. I bought a bunch of really nice like plant related dresses. So I'm wearing one today. And oh, Rocio, and what was it for the Amazon wish list? Let me know what did I mention that you want me to add to the Amazon wish list. And Cheryl says, thanks so much. I gathered rocks on my walk this morning. Will this work on my Cardi road? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Cardi roads, they appreciate a little bit more humidity. They're definitely a little bit more sensitive to the fluctuations than my other syngoniums. So the John O'Carty Road, definitely you can give it a little tray. It will totally appreciate that. And yeah, if you gather the rocks from outside, which free, just make sure that you clean them really, really well. You just want to make sure there was nothing on them. So you can clean them with like dish soap. Some folks will bleach anything that they bring from outdoors. You can totally do that too. You just want to make sure you're not introducing any like spores or bacteria or anything like that, or any pests even to the plant. So just make sure they're clean. Um, Oh, the things that I cut to fit the watering containers. Yes, yes. Thank you for clarifying, Rocio. Yes, yes, yes. I'll include that. Um, I'm gonna give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna see if I actually I have like a piece that I didn't use, so I can show you what I'm talking about, because I know a few of you might be going, "What the hell are you talking about?" Give me 1 second. Here we go. So after cutting them, this is what was left over. So this is what I'm talking about. And so was this is what's left over from what I was cutting away. And so was one big piece, and it's meant like for people who put them in their mud rooms or in your washrooms or some, where it's basically meant to be a mat that this interlocks, so they attach. And then it's meant to be put on the floor and you walk all over it, basically. So it's just to kind of give you some space off the floor if there's like a drain or something slippery or something like that. And so I got the idea. I was like, these make really great like mesh for me to put, and then I can fill it up under, and the plants just rest on top. And then they're just getting passive humidity. So I got that idea, and yeah, I bought a couple of these mats, and I cut them to size so that they fit in that tray that I use. So that's what I'm talking about, like a mesh like this. And they come in different colors. I just picked the gray. And then Sharon asks, any pros and cons regarding setting up unused shower with shelves for plants? Would I need lighting for each shelf? I'm trying to talk myself out of this project. That's a really fun project. I'm probably the worst person to ask, because I won't talk you out of it, because that sounds like an awesome project. So if it's unused, the possibilities, oh my God. Now it depends on the lighting situation in your bathroom, right? So if it's a windowless bathroom, there's absolutely no light, you will have to set up grow lights. That doesn't mean you have to set up a light for each shelf. If you set up a freestanding light, for instance, those are great. Highly recommend those. Those are you can actually they're kind of they're telescoping, so basically you can have them get taller, lower. There's like, it's like a tripod, and then they have different heads, kind of like this, where it has these different heads, and then you can point them in different directions. So you can have, one pointing higher, to the higher shelf, and you can kind of move them so each light is spread across. And then it's easy for you to move as well. I have two of those. I have one in our bedroom, and I have one that I have in case I need to, like, if I'm quarantining plants and I need to have a grow light there, because they're easy to move and they close down. It's like a little tripod. It comes with a bag. I love it. But yeah, so they if you're gonna do that, I mean, gosh, even if you set up a shelf system, let's say in the shower, if you were to put a clear shower curtain as well to put in front, that would lock in a lot of humidity. I mean, the possibilities, oh my God. You could keep so many really cool species if you're trying to keep things like anthuriums, if you're trying to keep some of the more rare aeroids, like certain types of skinned abscess, or I didn't show you guys. Okay, this is not mine. This is my husband's, but he got this yesterday. But if you wanted to keep some of their rarer, like this one, So it has gone down. I have loved seeing the pricing go down for these plants. My husband, I'm more into like the weird. My husband is more into the rare. He just wants it if it's pretty and rare. So he picked up this Alocasia Jacqueline. Absolutely beautiful. It's really rough. The leaves are really rough, and they're actually covered in this white hair. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful plant. He picked this up, and he picked this up. So this is a variegated Monstera adansonii. So this is Adansonii. I think he said it was the tricolor. So these used to be $1,400 for one leaf like this. People were paying just 2 years ago. People were paying $1,400. I know someone who bought theirs for like $1,250 for one leaf. This is how crazy it is. One leaf, people were paying at least $1,000 for. He was able to get this cutting now. The price has greatly reduced. So he got this one for like $70, which, you know, is much better than the $1,000. And I've been telling him for years, I'm like, just wait till it drops. It's gonna drop. The price is gonna drop. You're not gonna spend $1,000 on a plant. And so, but now let's say you want to specialize in these really rare plants. Having that set up in a bathroom would be amazing, because if you set up like with the shower head, especially the shower heads that you can move, you have the sprayer. There's just so many possibilities. You can totally set that up, have your lighting, it locks in the moisture. It's like perfect. That would be perfect for plants. So no, I'm so sorry I can't talk you out of it. I will probably just keep trying to talk you into it, because that would be a really fun, a really fun project. Because there's just so many ways that you could really create a little greenhouse. And the bathroom setup is just perfect. You have the sink for cleanup. It's absolutely perfect. The only thing I would say is to make sure that you put a block on the drain in the bathtub. If you are going to be putting anything with soil, because if you have any accidents, if a plant were to fall, if you water them and some soil were to fall through, then what would end up happening is that it would start to clog your pipes. So make sure to put something to block it off, so that it's easier for you to kind of clean up any of that fallen debris before rinsing out the tub, so that there isn't, you aren't creating a blockage. But I think that's a wonderful idea. And I think for that, probably a freestanding light would be the best option. Another option would be, actually, there's two other options. One would be if you were to get a clip-on light, kind of similar to this, to clip on to the actual bar, but it will be farther from the bottoms, from the plants that are towards the bottom. But if you set them up practically, where you maybe have plants at the bottom that really like shade and indirect light, they're not going to mind too much. And another option would be to install an overhead light that's strong enough that it will be able to reach all the plants to the bottom. But that would be the most expensive option, because you would have to buy a pretty expensive fixture. And yeah, but yeah, I think that's a great idea. Sorry. So yeah, don't. I'm so sorry. I'm probably making it worse for you if you're trying to talk yourself out of the project, because I think that's a really cool project, actually. But yeah, I hope that helps. Let me put this guy on my desk here before I drop it, and he. Thanks. Yeah, I might have made it much worse for you. But yeah, in terms of the cons, it's just, yeah, the potential to clog up the drain if not careful. But if you're not using the shower, I mean, there's many more pros. You know, the area for cleaning, the ability to maintain humidity, the access to water, all of that is good. Yeah, and the only con I would say is, yeah, the to be very careful with your plumbing. Um, Actually, okay, and also because of that humidity, um, you just have to be careful with things like fungus gnats. So maintaining good air circulation. So you would have to install some type of fan to keep the air moving so that you don't have a problem with mold or like mildew or anything like that. Um, that you and just watching that humidity so that it doesn't affect yeah, like to incite that growth of mold or mildew. But yeah, if you have like a fan going, you're monitoring that humidity, maybe installing something like a catchy, which is a little like, it looks like a little fan um with like a opening. It sucks up fungus gnats, and so you can usually get that. So if there's any problem um with fungus gnats, they're very poor flyers, and so it would just suck them right up. Yeah. Terry, wonderful idea. What about hanging plants from the ceiling? Yes. Um, with that, I always recommend getting, there's some special hangers that they have an anchor. So basically, I'll see if they're available on Amazon and I'll add that to the list. But they basically are like this, and then you pin them like this. You put them after you make the hole, and then they open like this, so it anchors into the ceiling. Those are the most stable. Um, and then there are retractable, those are already on the Amazon wish list, where there's these retractable plant hangers. It has like a pulley system. So you connect it to the hook, and then there's the pulley system, and then there's another hook. So you hang the plant there, and then you can lower the plant. And it's like you just pull, and it comes down, and then you do this again, and it brings it back up. Really, really cool system. Yeah, 1 second. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second. Just trying to pull that on. But yeah, so these are just some of the, let me put that overall for everyone. Oops, I copied the wrong thing. Sorry. It says welcome. All right, there we go. So that's the Amazon wish list. So if there's, I just threw things on there that I personally bought. So everything that's on that list, I currently have. Might not be using it at this very second, because I like to buy things to experiment with. So there is a bunch of things, but I do own all of the stuff that's that's on that list. And so I hope to kind of do like in-depth reviews on some of those products. So I might start to kind of compile lists and stuff, and just kind of show everyone maybe why I got it initially, what was the idea, did it work, did it not work, just to kind of show everyone, yeah, if it's helpful, of course. But yeah, and with hanging the plants from the ceiling, definitely those, make sure they're meant for plants. So just look when the hooks, they're for plant hanging, because usually they'll be having that anchor. And then yeah, having that, and then the retractable plant hangers are very, very helpful. And then if you, to help in terms of managing hanging plants, right? No matter where they are in your house, having a pole to bring them down is just going to be really helpful. So, for instance, I'm 5'1", I'm tiny, and so I have to get on a ladder on a like a footstool to get access to a lot of my hanging plants, or some I have to kind of do some crazy gymnastics to climb up. And so my husband was not having it because he was like, if you fall and I'm not home, like it would just be bad. So he was like, no, 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 no. So he every time I'm working with the hanging plants, he would be there at least spotting me, just in case if I have to climb up on something. So he was like, we have to figure this out. And then I was like, wait, what about the hooks that you use at the store to get the hangers down? And so I got one of those, and now I use that for my hanging plants. And I literally put my feet are firmly planted on the ground, and I'm able to just access them. So hold on here. Yeah. So I just got one of these. So I got one of these. And so I have 10-foot tall ceilings. So this, I can touch my ceiling with it. So it's definitely tall enough, it's long enough. And I'm able to just use this and bring down my hanging plants whenever I need them. I don't have to bother anyone. I don't have to climb up on anything and put myself at risk. I can just use my little hook, and I'm very happy that I purchased this. And this was about $14, $15. But totally worth it. Absolutely worth it. So if you have hanging plants, and I have a lot of plants that I hang on my curtain rods as well. So like here in the living room, I have a string of dolphins, a string of needles, and a string of hearts, all hanging from our curtain rod. And same thing, it's much, much easier than me climbing on my heater to get to them. And so highly, highly, highly recommend. Just to, be safe, be safe. Sometimes, we'll put plants in very odd places. And then, especially when you start running out of room. And so you start kind of putting them in very weird, maybe really high places. So yeah, just try to definitely be safe. Let me see here. See. Oh, someone asked, what was the cost of the Rhapidophoras, and the plants? Because yeah, I mentioned this guy was 70. The Jacqueline was actually only this one was 60. I don't know if it still has the price tag on it. Yeah, yeah. This one was 60. And so right now, on the market, you probably usually for private sellers, they're selling them for anywhere from 75 to 85 is the average. So this was at a local plant shop for 60. So that's why Brian grabbed it because it was much, much cheaper than what we were seeing elsewhere. So it is dropping. It is dropping in price. This just a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, easily you would find these over $100. So they are becoming more available. So now that's driving the cost down. In terms of the Rhapidophoras, the dragon tail, though and the tetrasperma. So it's the decursiva and the tetrasperma. Those guys are, the price has gone so different. Hold on one second. I froze. There we go. Yeah, I still remember back in like 2016, 2017, I bought one leaf of a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma for $25. And now you can find a full beautiful plant. Something like this big guy will cost you maybe $50, $60. So the price has gone way down. The same with the dragon tail, the decursiva. Those were super, super expensive, but you can now find even like 4-inch pots. I got one that I got that's a 4-inch pot in the bathroom that was like $10 for a 4-inch pot. So it's much, much cheaper. So they're much more accessible now. They're not as crazy expensive as they used to be. Like decursivas as well. A small 4-inch pot a couple, maybe 2 years ago would probably have been $50, $60 for a small 4-inch pot. And now you can find them for $10. So sometimes with certain plants that you're really, really into, just having a little bit of patience and wait for the market to go down. Because what ends up happening is that, like we've seen with the Monstera albo, a lot of folks get interested, right? And that drives up the demand. And then people are, raising up their supply to meet the demand. And then they end up oversaturating the market. And so what ends up happening is all the pricing drops. So plants that used to cost $300-$400 are now like $100, some even less. You're fine. I'm seeing people selling Monstera albos like with 1 or 2 leaves for like $80-$90. So yeah, it can drop. I just saw someone selling. I was cracking up because we paid like $100 for our variegated burl marks like a year and a half ago, and I saw people over the weekend were selling cuttings of a leaf of the variegated burl marks for $5 each. So when the markets get that saturated, it's ridiculous. It's super, super cheap. So yeah, sometimes you just have to be patient, and you can find some of your plants for a steal. Holly says, I'm addicted to plants. Oh no, we're all plant junkies. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very easy to become very addicted. It's such a neat and relaxing hobby. I find I love it. I love being surrounded by the green. I love when I'm like hyper focused and I'm taking care of them and cleaning them up and watering them and inspecting them. For me, it's like it really is very calming. And so I definitely I love it. I absolutely love it. And then it's very easy to then go, oh, there's more space here, and want to like, yeah, I could totally add another shelf. Or oh, maybe this plant should move over here. Well, now there's an open space there. Yeah, it becomes a pretty a pretty addictive type of hobby. So especially when you get really, really interested in specific species and you start to collect them. A few years ago, I definitely went like on a peperomia binge. I was buying all these different types of peperomia. I went on, I know a lot of you might know the pothos binge, where folks start going and trying to buy all the different types of pothos. So yeah, it can get like that. Absolutely. Oh, Holly says we should all find you when everything turns back into the wilderness to protect us from the spiders. Yeah. I've had a lot of folks make jokes that if there's an apocalypse, um that they have to find me because I do foraging, and I teach plant identification, and I use herbal medicine. And so a lot of plants here in New York City that folks consider weeds are actually highly nutritious. They're highly medicinal. There's so many things around here. So yeah, if there's an apocalypse, if you can forage in your local parks. Just so you know, things like red clover, plantain, those can just be eaten. Of course, you want to make sure it's clean, that it's not in an area where there was foot traffic or dogs. But things like red clover is it's full of minerals and vitamins. It's amazing. And people want to destroy it and, and take it off of their lawns. The same with plantain. Plantain has actually equal or a little bit more, depending on the plant, percentage in terms of the nutritional value as kale. It's highly, highly nutritious. And so, fun things like that. It's yeah, so you can definitely find some really cool plants that are in your area, get to know them. So if anything ever were to happen, you would at least know, try to learn like 10 of them, 10 edibles that, you have in your area. Something like the linden plant, linden tree, that's actually fully edible. The leaves, the flowers, the fruit, fully edible. They can be used for tea, but folks could eat them. You could technically eat them. And even the young shoots, like the branches, when you peel off the fresh wood, they actually taste like cucumber. So they're an example of a tree that, you could technically eat if you're in a pinch, but they have been used like for animal feed, things like that. So there's, learn like 10 edibles in your area, just in case. Holly is saying, can you grow nettles indoors? No, I don't think so, unless you maybe set up like a grow tent, kind of like a greenhouse indoors, maybe. Nettles, they need a lot of, they prefer like a lot of sun, and I haven't heard of anybody successfully growing them indoors long term. Sprouting them is a different thing. You can sprout the seeds indoors, but in terms of growing them until they get rather large. So that's one thing to contend with, is the space. Also, the fact that the stinging nettle will sting you, so that would be difficult to have indoors if you have other people living there, children, pets. But yeah, it's something you can sprout indoors, but you would have to move outdoors. Oh, Deanna, speaking about medicinal plants, I was just reading about the pitcher plants being used for medicine for various conditions. Can you medicate yourself with the part of the plant? Ooh, I was not aware of that. I will have to look that up. That is so neat. There are quite a few plants that can be used, medicinally. A couple house plants that have history for folks doing so. So that's always really cool when you can learn about that. But no, I wasn't aware about the pitcher plant. Oh, Judy, have you ever thought about publishing a book or an ebook? Yeah. Yes, I'm actually working on one. And so the whole thing is I started working on it, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna try to get it done by the fall. But then I got a bunch of things were happening. I became assistant director for Herbalists Without Borders, which is a nonprofit. It's an international nonprofit. And then I got the news that I was becoming the executive director was retiring. And so I'm becoming the executive director, and in a few weeks. So I have been the last like 2 months now. I have been dedicating a lot of my time and getting caught up in everything to take on that position. So everything kind of fell to the wayside because it's been a mad dash to try to get ready. Yeah, I mean, I used to be an administrator for a nonprofit. I've been in the nonprofit world for like a decade now, but now, being an executive director, it's like so I've been having to deal with like the transition and learning, the ins and outs that I'm going to have to learn. And so it's been, yeah, it's been a busy summer for me, just kind of preparing for that. So and I start basically October 1st. So it's, yeah, So I'm hoping that I'm gonna take a couple months to kind of settle in. And then maybe during the winter when everything's kind of slow, I'll kind of throw myself back into the book. Because I would like to have at least something out soon. I'll see how quickly I can turn something around like that. But something small that I can share that's kind of like a precursor to the bigger project. So hopefully we'll have it out soon, because my husband and I, so I'm working on the book, and then we were working on the app. So there's an app that we're building, and so that also got paused. So hopefully we can get that going again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the congrats. I'm terrified, but hopefully, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm like equally excited and terrified. That's where I'm at right now. So let's see. Oh, Hank. Oh yes. I saw your message, Hank, right before we started. So I couldn't reply back right away. Hank showed me a picture of his Ficus benjamina, which is it's all woven. That lost all its leaves, and he says here there is still some green on the bark. Yes. So I would say to do the scratch test, because while there was some green on the bark, that could be staining from something else, like an algae or a moss or something else that could have caused the staining. So we don't know if it's directly being caused by the bark itself. So I would say to do a scratch test with like a sharp razor or even your nail, and just do a scratch test to remove the a little bit of the bark to see if there's green inside. And if there is, just, I would recommend removing all the dead leaves at the base so that they don't start rotting and attracting mold to the base of the plant. Then I would give it a good bottom water, really soak up that soil, and then with the little branches that are kind of in the periphery that that might be completely dead, you can chop those off. And then just kind of wait. When you see it really dry out, you can give it a light watering, and it should start to put some growth back if it's still alive. If you do the scratch test and it's beige, like there's no green inside, then more than likely then it's gone, unfortunately. But yeah, the scratch test is the best thing to do. You can do it in different places too. So since it's braided, that means there is more than one plant there. So you might want to test each trunk to see which one might be alive. Because sometimes maybe two will be alive, and the third you'll have to cut back because it's gone. So you can totally do that. Tanya, how do I grow and maintain catgrass seeds? It's hard red wheat, wheatgrass, non-GMO. Do you grow grass for your cats? And congrats on the new gig. Yeah, thank you. So I actually have a pack of those seeds. My sister-in-law gave them to me because she grows them for her cats, and I have not germinated them yet. But from what I've seen, it's relatively easy. You have to soak the seeds, and that they pretty much just need a sunny window, and they're pretty. They go. I've had experience growing grass seeds, even in the window, and very quick germination rate, and super easy to maintain. With these, I know that yeah, it's a quick soak. I think you let them soak overnight, and then you plant them, and yeah, have them. She has them in her. Let's see if so she has them in her Western windows. She has them in her Western windows, and yeah, her cats love them. So I have to germinate mine and get that going, and then I can give you a more accurate report. But her cats love it. And she told me it's like super low maintenance, and she got like a big bag of seeds, so she gave me some. And so
What do
she
you
said
mean by,
she would. Oh,
I'm sorry, excuse my ignorance. What do you mean by germinate? What is
oh
that?
yes, sorry. So germinate. So for the seeds to actually push out growth. So that is seed germination. So that's when basically the seed goes from being a seed to a seedling, where it pushes out that growth, and you have a baby plant. And so then, yeah, they're very quick to go from that seed stage. Once you set them up, you give them a nice soak, and you put them in some substrate. The seeds, they come out. The plants come out really, really quick. There are some plants, for instance, like one of the longest ones I know is the bat flower Taka. It's the genus Taka. They actually, it can take 6 months for it to germinate. So you gave it water, you set it up, it's in substrate, you're taking care of it, and it's going to take 6 months for that seed to come out. So I have the seeds. I have not tried to germinate them yet. I'm like, I have to prep myself to have that amount of patience. So for 6 months, I just have to be staring at these seeds. We have my husband's actually germinating. Oh, I can actually bring them real quick. Hold on. They were what is it? It's the Sarah Michelle anthuriums. And so it's between a red crystallinum and a Michelle. And so we've been germinating these seeds. Here we go. So these are the baby plants.
Right.
Yeah. So so these germinated rather quickly. I think after we set them up, our setup is charcoal. It's horticultural charcoal with some sphagnum moss, and this is basically a little greenhouse.
Oh, well, sorry, I have a cold, which
I
is
know.
why I'm
Oh,
on, but
you're fine.
excuse me. This seems silly. I grew up in the suburbs and my dad cuts the grass, right? So like, is it gonna keep coming back if the cat eats it down, or I have to like replant? And I actually I guess I can put my camera on to show this. I did take some seeds and I just took some potting soil and I put it in a Chinese food tray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it does have a little. I did this on Saturday, so I do have like little white strips, little white things coming out on the seeds. Can you see?
Yes, yes.
It's starting to do a little something, and I had the lid on, so I wasn't sure because there was no directions. The bag just came like that with no instructions, so I wasn't sure if this is gonna work or the right way to
Yes.
do it. Okay.
And that's and so that little growth that you're seeing, so that means your seeds are germinating.
Okay.
And so from my understanding, I think once they get chewed down, they might push out a little bit more growth. But then I think once the seed is spent, then once it really dies back,
Right.
I don't think it comes back.
Right. Plant more.
Yeah, so you might have to get more. When I was looking up about the cat grass, I just saw things like about being careful not to maintain them too moist, because then that could promote mold growth. But I saw many more like pros of it. So just that it germinates really fast. That cats really seem to like it. It's very low maintenance. It's literally put it into a sunny window, and and it you don't need like special grow lights or anything.
Okay.
So yeah, they're cool. I'll set mine up this week, and so then I'll be able to actually let you know how that experiment goes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, Linda asks, could you keep some cat grass separate and let it go to seed? That's a good question. I'm not sure if it would go to, I guess you can. I mean, yeah, with it's wind pollinated, I believe. Most grasses are wind pollinated. I guess if you were to just make sure that that they were pollinated, I don't see why they technically wouldn't go to seed, if you had them in the right conditions. Um, it might. That'd be cool. Um, and Diana asks, do you plant the seeds in a tray, and how do the cats enjoy them? Yeah, so you can plant them in like a shallow tray, and yeah, they sprout, and it's something to give your cats basically a plant they can nibble on. So, oh, sorry, that was my doorbell. That sometimes, yeah, plants can be very appetizing for certain cats. They're really interested in your plants, and you want to divert their attention and give them something that you're not going to be shooing them away from. And so by setting it up, like probably maybe they have a favorite window, or like a favorite spot on your counter, and then having the cat grass there and very accessible to them, it usually tends to be a nice diversion. So they'll be so focused on, oh, I can actually chew on this, I'm not getting yelled at. Like I can just eat this. And then they tend to leave your other they tend to leave your other plants alone. So yeah, it's great. It's great. It's good for their digestive system. Yeah, and it definitely will divert their attention. So if it's also really cool just for enrichment purposes. So it's just something new for them to kind of mess with. And so yeah, you can definitely I highly recommend doing like things like that. It's just something of interest for them, right? Like I like having plants too that I don't mind my cats messing with, like with the ponytail palms. I don't mind them messing with them, because they're non-toxic, and I know they're having fun, and they're yeah. So, but if you're like, you know what, I don't want them to be messing with my house plants, I would rather keep it kind of contained and controlled, doing stuff like that with the cat grass. Yeah, you can definitely you can definitely set that up. Let me see here. But yeah, that's the plan. Um, yeah, I'm gonna try to set those up this week. And then yeah, and then I'll let you know how that goes. So it's supposed to be super easy. So we'll find out. We'll find out, won't we? We'll definitely see that. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, good. If there's any last minute questions, if anybody wants to share anything, let me know. We have a few more minutes. Yeah, and so in terms of the replays, so the replays are available, but they're the raw footage. And so again, because the last 2 months have been really, I've been really swamped with this transition, so I'm behind on editing. But I'm hoping to, within the next few weeks, to have those the last couple edited for you. Because what I found is I'm using this new program, and I'm going to add subtitles and everything to them. But with the first couple replays, those you can see there's a transcript included, and there's also the MP3 available as well if you just want to listen. So there's the video, the MP3, and the transcript. So if you prefer to kind of just reread, or maybe you're looking for a specific passage, or you wanted to take some notes, the transcript is available. So you can also search keywords and things like that on it. So it's a little bit easier to enjoy our sessions. And so having all that fun stuff, and I'll be enabling the subtitles, because now I have that in my program. that they work a lot easier. So I'll be re-uploading the first couple with the subtitles, and then yeah, hopefully catching up with the last few. We had like a weird person that came into the meeting for the El Salvador class, and so I've been trying to edit that so that I can block that. Yeah, so hopefully I'll try to focus on having that one out sooner, because a lot of folks missed it, and the raw footage is there, but yeah, so that you guys can check out the edited version. And I re-recorded the plant tour on my phone, and so it's much more clear, and yeah, so I'll put that as well. I had a scare there. My phone wasn't turning on, and so I got so scared because I thought I lost everything because I hadn't backed it up. So yeah, so I'm like, that's more of an incentive to make sure that I get this off of my phone and edited, so that I don't end up losing it, and then I can't share it with everyone. But yeah, there's a bunch of footage on there, so I'll put that out. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thanks so much for dropping by. I always love hearing you guys, and hearing your questions, and having everyone share, and you know, especially like the really funny comments. Like it's always really fun, these sessions, and I really appreciate it. It's always a really nice start to my week. So I really appreciate it, and thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, you know, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to get those updated videos with all the goodies there, with the subtitles and transcripts and everything for you. Yeah, and if anything, reach out, let me know. And especially, I know a few had reached out about you know, wanting to talk about certain things, but kind of being a little bit nervous. Again, it's a free open space. So please, you know, just let me know, even if you just want 10 minutes. You don't have to do a whole thing if you don't want to. If you just want to stick to a few minutes and just share about your plants, and so there's no pressure at all. So just you know, just having a conversation. So yeah, definitely let me know, and we can set that up. That's not a problem. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday, enjoy the rest of your week. Please stay safe. I've been seeing so many things, you know, and the weather has been crazy. There's been tornadoes and flooding, and it's just it's crazy time right now. So please stay safe. You know, if yeah, and if anyone is in need of anything, of any resources or anything like that, definitely reach out with Herbalists Without Borders too. Just as a side note, they have chapters. We have chapters all around the world, and so if you know, if you wanted to check, hey, is there one in my state? Is there one in my city? You can actually look up on Herbalists Without Borders, find a chapter. And so sometimes there's already people that are in, you know, in place that are already helping folks that are, let's say there was a recent flood or something like that. They're already in place, and they have a plan. And so we distribute supplies, health aid supplies and things like that. So you know, check. And if you don't have a chapter in your area and this sounds really interesting, you can definitely reach out to Herbalists Without Borders about, hey, I would like to start a chapter. I'm interested in health justice. I'm interested in herbal medicine, and I would love to help, you know, empower my community. You can totally do that. So if that's something of interest, definitely, you know, reach out, and we can send you more info on how to do it. But yeah, so you know, be the change. Be the change. So thank you so much, everyone, again for tuning in, and yeah, Have a lovely week, everyone.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thanks.
Bye.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye.